Welcome back to the bubble, ladies and gentlemen, and the marvelous game of Cossacks 3. You might be noticing that things are happening at the screen while my hands are not touching the keyboard or the mouse pad. That's because this is actually a recording of me playing as Denmark against two impossible AI. You know, I've been challenging myself to try to beat two impossible AI without using 18th century unit. We just a couple of episodes back went through a big game where I played as Russia against two impossible AI, and I think it was like a 6-hour game, 9 episodes long, with the last like 3 ones being over an hour each. So that was a big episode. But now I'm playing as Denmark, and I'm crapping out a pretty standard opening. Two town halls rather, barrack, mill, going straight for market, and two barracks, 17th century barracks, of course. And actually, I just realized when I played that long game as Russia that I would try to approach this more as a multiplayer game, because in the 17th century you have no chance of beating the AI. At least I don't, with my current level of skill, by force of arms, because they have more and they have better than you, especially since there are 2 of them and both of them are in the 18th century, and they use 18th century musketeers and things like that, while I am only using musketeers and pikemen. Now I see that I was a bit late at starting to produce 17th century pikemen from my other barrack. Of course, that's very easy for me to notice right now, but I am producing villagers or peasants rather, out of both of my town halls. And now here we go with the pikemen. Of course, I have no peacetime when I play against AI. I never do. So I am trying to play as I would basically a 5k 0 peacetime multiplayer game. Then of course I have to be very fast. The map, however, is really big, so it takes quite some time for my troops to get anywhere. But first, of course, you see the shadow, the shade. Of course, I don't know where they are yet. So it's a big map, and I have a lot of coverage of ground to cover. I know that I play as Denmark, and I have no idea what my opponents will be playing as, because I have random on both me and both of the AI. But of course I want to start working with mines as fast as possible, and if we go to the academy, it's very soon finished, built, low on food, so I'll have to send a lot more peasants to work on the food supply. But I have gotten my first harvesting upgrade, of course, and also my first upgrade to increase the respawn time of the fields. But now just got the academy upgraded. Which upgrade will I be going with? Most likely will I be going for harvesting, or I just want to wait until I get these ones. But we are playing, of course, with diplomatic centers and everything like that, and artillery, of course. We have no limitations to this game like we do on several multiplayer games. Still no upgrade. There we go, harvesting plus 40% from the academy, of course. I actually learned from the comments from one of you guys that when playing a 5k 0 peacetime multiplayer game, you want to focus on food and gold, because that's what's required on the upgrades of your pikemen. Of course, they're only food and gold, so no use for stone or lumber there. But of course, iron to... I don't need iron. Yeah, I need iron to produce them, so of course I need that. But minimal amount of peasants on stone and wood. However, I am very difficult to learn about regarding those things, so of course I'll keep sending peasants to stone and lumber. But now I got my first 36 formation of pikemen, 17th century, up and running. Of course, these are armored, so they will be a little more buff than if I were playing as, say, Poland or Scotland or anything like that, where they have pikemen without any armor. So that's good. And soon the diplomatic center will be up so that I can start using mercenaries. Of course, I will need all of the manpower I can get. We have rivers on this map as well, so there will be like two or three, something like that, choke points that will be crucial for me to defend, of course, against two AI. So in that sense, the rivers can act out as a bit of a natural wall for me to have a minimal amount of units. Starting off with Sich Cossacks from the diplomatic center. Of course, I need to cover some more ground to see where my opponents are at. And after that, I think I will be going with archers and light infantry right off the bat. Not sure. I guess we're gonna see. This is so exciting. I haven't actually commented on any of my games without playing them before. I don't think so, at least. Haven't started to upgrade my pikemen yet. I very much have to do that. But now I selected Sich Cossacks to go on some scouting missions. So most likely I'm gonna start making mercenaries soon as well. But now I'm kind of asking myself, okay, I have Denmark. What kind of units should I have to complement my army with? Of course, the round shears. Average building cost, low attack, but they have armor, so they are a bit better from a defensive standpoint. However, the light infantrymen, super cheap, a bit faster to build, and pretty trashy units, but you can make a lot of them in a very short amount of time. Archers and grenadiers, of course, will be very important for me in the 17th century, since I cannot destroy buildings with anything else. So I need to go with either archers or grenadiers. If you look at the cost, archers are a lot cheaper than grenadiers. However, they are quite squishy as well. So if I go with archers, I need to place them behind my my armored pikemen. If you look at the academy, still I haven't gotten any more upgrades. Most likely I will be going with woodcutting soon, or another food upgrade. Super interesting now, knowing how it went. What I did. Okay, now we finally see one of our opponents. So most likely we have one city right over there, and these guys, the 36 formation down here, trying to find the second adversary. Okay, we got woodcutting efficiency as our second upgrade from the academy. If we look at the barracks, I've only upgraded the attack and defense once. On my pikemen, I really need to get going on that one. So, there we got our first adversary, Spain. Not the easiest of civilizations to face. Their 17th century infantry, both ranged and melee, has very good armor. However, they do take a bit longer to spawn. So, better quality units, but takes a bit longer to recruit them. However, my pikeman production is going along quite well, and down there we have our second adversary, and they are Turkey. Don't really know if that's to my advantage or not, because they don't have a lot of armor. They have a lot of archers though, and Turkey and Algeria are two of the factions that don't get to the 18th century. So of course they won't be getting any 18th century musketeers, 18th century dragoons, etc., etc. with their civilization. So that's a safe bet if this game were to drag on for a longer period of time. Still running around trying to scout as much as possible out of their base. However, the scouted terrain doesn't stay scouted. So that of course means that they just have to run around, keep running around, and try to keep them busy. We have one opponent right there, and also remember that we just ran by. Okay, these guys decided to be a bit cocky and they died for it, but still, A for effort on those boys. You remember that we still had one one formation of from Orange that we ran by here. That should, if they haven't retreated to their base to defend it, they should be there soon. And now I just got another upgrading the academy, which would increase or rather decrease the time it takes to replenish the fields, which of course will help a lot with my harvesting to not have empty fields. Turkey right here has decided to rather follow me than trying to go for my base, and that's something that I very much appreciate playing against AI, that they always prioritize defending their base first. So if they feel that their base is threatened in any way, they will pull pretty much most of their, or if not all of their units back. Look at that. Fortunately for me, I actually won this confrontation. But it was pretty even actually. 18 out of, I guess, 36 left from that formation. Still, this pikeman, however, is not untouched, so he can still stand here and scout a little bit. These guys are holding the choke point. Very brave dudes. Of course, we have these pikemen still standing around here, and I have started to produce units out of the diplomatic center, and I went with light infantry. And here we got our first section of units right there. 36 in formation, 44 pikemen to follow, and then 34 light infantrymen and 30 archers. So archers rather than grenadiers, because grenadiers are quite expensive in upkeep as well as in recruiting. So as long as I can keep these archers defended, then they will be able to destroy buildings quite easily. Not quite easily, but quite effectively. Okay, and now we've got the stone excavation upgrade right here, which will increase the rate in which I harvest stone by 100%. So of course that will be very crucial for my economy if this game were to drag on. Because of course food and gold will be crucial in the early parts of the game, because gold, of course, recruiting mercenaries and also upgrading pikemen, which are only in the 4th level in attack and 5th level in defense. But of course I need to upgrade them a lot, and that costs food and gold. However, if I were to play along further, then I would need to boost my economy in other ways, like, for example, harvesting stone and lumber. Now I've also started to use the stables. I guess that's my first stable actually. Yes it is, and I go with riders of this one, so not really a lot of ranged units, but the only ranged unit I have so far is the archers from the mercenary, which of course will have a prime focus of destroying their economy, like mines for example, and of course military buildings as well. 2 idle mines, 1 coal and 1 iron that I can put some more peasants into. I wonder when I realize that and start putting some people into the mines. Now I have actually 3. 2 iron mines and 1 coal mine. Most likely maybe I'll take from the food production, or I can take some of all of these. Too bad I can't choose them and click right now. Here we have 1 confrontation that we actually take over quite easily. The archers are doing a stellar job attacking from the rear. And then we can just keep pushing forward. We still have this brave scout right over here, checking on the north side. And then we have this formation of 34 right now that's probably still pulling away some Turkish units from their base, but we are trying to go from the south right here with those with that little army, and these brave boys are almost, well, a little more than halfway towards the Orange's base, the Spanish Orange base. So hopefully they're gonna get there, at least the archers are gonna get there mainly unscathed, so that they can deal some damage to the buildings. Now I really need to start putting some peasants into the mines. And I think I realized that now, but for some reason they don't want to work in the mines. Wonder why. But at least I'm starting to put them into mines now. That's good. Still only 1 stable, and making light infantrymen and pikemen from the barracks. However, now I ran out of houses. Oh darn. Crapping out an artillery depot right there. Not that that's gonna help me with the population space, but rather I need to build a lot of dwellings to increase the population space, which of course I do now. I couldn't have done it better myself, which I did. The other way would of course be to build more town halls or more barracks, but that's of course a very expensive later on. or that's increasingly expensive, of course, like every building increases in costs, the more of them you build. But these guys are actually starting to pause down a little bit, but I keep sending reinforcements because I want to keep the pressure on if I actually were to break orange defense, so that I can keep attacking. Right now I basically just went all out on attacking orange. I just pray that purple doesn't decide to attack me, because in that case I wouldn't have that much to defend with. I do have one tower right here, but that wouldn't defend me from the south at all. But now I start to get some more unit production up as the number of dwellings increase. And you realize that, like, yeah, we're almost 16 minutes in. Since it's a huge map, it takes quite some time to move all of my soldiers over there. If I would have played on a smaller map, most likely I would have already been there quite a while. Maybe I already lost all of my troops, or maybe I would actually have done some good job on Orange's base. But here, look at that. That's a lot more pikemen than this little 34 squad. Hopefully I'm not I'm smart enough to avoid that formation, or I just run into it and die. Either way, it's a great diversion. And it seems like I'm going on the diversion route, or actually I just scare them away, because these guys are just that good. None of them has, the entire formation doesn't even have a single kill in their on their resume. But still, orange retreats, I don't know why, but I'm glad for it either way. Here we have this little pikeman starting to reconnaissance on the other part, the western part of the orange's village. And now I'm starting to mass up units for my first attack. And of course I'll try to go from the north, because I see that there's not that many units there. They do have this formation, but they are pulling that one away from the city, fortunately for me, in order to rather attack my base or something like that. But here we go. So far I haven't set the units to move and attack, but rather they are just walking in. The logic of the computer right now. There we go. Now I set them to attack, but for some reason they aren't attacking any peasants at all. That's a weird replay mode. I wonder if I wanted them to attack something special. Maybe I did. But here the light infantrymen are starting to move in. They are quite weak against pikemen, so of course the archers will have to help out right there. It's really interesting why they didn't attack the peasants. That would have been a great blow to their economy. First of all, taking down the barracks so they can't recruit any troops. And then of course the barrack will come next. After that I will most likely be going for the mines. But their Sich Cossacks are going down easily to the pikemen. Of course, Sich Cossacks from the diplomatic centers are really weak. Peasants can take those down without breaking a sweat. Here we have another big army moving down south towards purple, while I try to do the maximum amount of damage with this little squad right here. But these guys could very easily thwart all of my ambitions towards breaking down this this little city. However, I just try to make as much damage as I can with the archers, of course. But in order for them to do damage, they have to stay alive. So I have to protect them from these pikemen, or just go straight to attack the coal mine, because I don't want them to get any of those resources. However, of course, they can rebuild them if they want to. Can these 4, 3... Almost. Too bad, I almost got down that coal mine. But that's what happened with the first attack. Still did a decent amount of damage. One town hall, the academy, the blacksmith, one of the barracks. Very well done. Pat myself on the back. But look at this, they won't stand a chance. My poor light infantrymen won't stand a chance against their armored pikemen. However, now I'm moving this little army back west, because I realized that, okay, I did some damage to orange. I can hopefully try to finish that. instead of going to purple. So I send another army up from the northern side. No archers in this army, no archers in this one, no archers in this one, but here they come from the diplomatic center, freshly recruited. And in the academy I really haven't gotten any more upgrades done so far, not even the next stone excavation efficiency, which will increase stone excavation or harvesting by 200%. But running out of resources, still have a lot of food, which I started to sell right now just to get more gold. Actually, you can sell food as well, you know. I'm always really scared to run out of food, so it's basically the last resource that I sell. However, you have to balance out the economy. No use having millions of food when you have like no lumber or no gold. But here they start coming with the town, not town hall, but rather the cannon tower. So that starts chiseling down on my light infantry. That's a newly built, newly construction building. So that's gonna protect them pretty good from the northern side. However, look at that, the siege Cossacks didn't manage to bring down, they did manage to bring down one light infantryman. That's how ineffective the siege Cossacks from the diplomatic centers are. They are really only good at capturing undefended peasants or workers. That's basically the only thing they're good for. If the peasants have like even one military unit so they can't be captured, they can easily take down siege Cossacks. They're fast though, they're really fast, so that's good of course. I now realize that I really want to keep this pressure on them. They didn't lose the coal mine. I think they still have one gold mine up and running. So I tried to move all the units that I have, getting some riders now as well, west in order to attack that city. And I'm so happy that purple hasn't attacked me yet. Most likely they just want to defend orange. Or maybe they know where I am basically right away. It's only me that's going in blind. They know where to go. Almost maxed out the upgrades on my pikemen. That's very good, but still they're not maxed out, of course. Starting to build some cannons just in order to have some kind of defense offense. Because as you know from my previous episodes, if I don't, at least my previous episodes on trying to beat impossible AI, that if I can't have good enough units, infantry, cavalry, I'll basically have to fill out my entire army with artillery. But I should be going for firepower, either of these upgrades as soon as possible. However, most likely I chose not to do that because I don't actually have any ranged units so far. I only have the archers. Otherwise I'm going with riders and pikemen, so I would rather be going for... Now I went for firepower, most likely because of the cannons, or if I have to transition into musketeers. But I should have gone to like armored soldiers defense or something like that. Oh, look at that. They have joined together in a coalition, orange and purple. This actually doesn't look very good to me. I can't imagine, or I can't believe that I actually turned this. Because looking at it like this, they do have a lot of units. A lot more than I do. Anyway. And also their cannon towers are starting to chisel down my troops. So these really need to get in the clear from that one's the tower's range. But look at all these units. I'm basically just spreading myself out as thin as possible so that I can try coming from all different directions and just deal damage on the economy. Because I can't really deal any damage on their military buildings without any archers, which are way back. All the way down here, 15 archers, way back at the base almost. Starting to build yet another stable, of course, and they are only focused on attack right now. And no armor. Most likely I'll start upgrade that one soon as well, because of course the riders with their armor need to be as tanky as possible. Especially when most of my army is just light infantrymen who are basically peasants with swords. Not very strong at all. However, look at this. There is powers in numbers. Starting to break down. Oh, this is not good. from a moral standpoint, cutting down priests. But we are starting to capture some stuff, and I would recommend that I pull some of these guys back to capture the coal mine and explode that one. Of course, I don't play with captured civilizations when I do this this challenge. So everything captured, I destroy. They don't seem to have... There they have their gold mine. But look at that. That small little squad actually did a decent amount of damage to their civilization. However, I really wish that I would have turned the units back and taken down to take down this mine, this coal mine. And also, of course, focusing down on this gold mine. But look at that. They did manage to take me out with their peasants, because like I said, light infantrymen aren't very strong. And also I didn't capture that town hall. I see a lot of mistakes now, retrospectively. But turning some of the troops back to capture it and try to take it down. The siege Cossacks, most likely they won't be able to deal that much damage. Maybe to the light infantrymen, but not to the pikemen. Look at that, the peasants actually took down the light infantrymen. And there we blow up their coal mine, and there we have this big unit of reinforcements coming from the south, and they have archers in it as well, so of course they will be able to destroy buildings quite effectively. And actually, look at that, I did capture a town hall, but if I know myself correctly, I'm not gonna use it, because that's not part of the rule, so I will have to destroy it. And I destroy that storehouse as well. But now these guys are coming in, starting to clear it up, and Orange doesn't really have that much left. And imagine my joy after playing that long as 6 hours, I guess 6 hours, was it 5 or whatever, a lot of hours in that Russian game. To already, not even half an hour into the game, already I've destroyed one of the threats. Actually, most likely the biggest threat, since Spain actually can transition into the 18th century with 18th century musketeers and 18th century dragoons, super strong units, of course. But now I have some archers, so I will start to chisel down on their entire civilization, destroy all of their buildings. Don't know where these guys are going though. Shooting from there, that's bugged. Look at that. But basically, it was the archers. Most likely it's just some bug in the replay function. That's weird. But still, trying to destroy their military buildings, their artillery depot is next in line. So far, the Orange AI hasn't surrendered yet, but next down is the 17th century, but I think it's just a bit delayed, the unit walks. If any one of you have experiences in watching replays and see the delays or bugs like this, how did you fix it if you did? But taking down the barracks, and still no sign of the purple player, no sign at all. Still, I haven't upgraded to... I have upgraded to the 18th century, but I haven't upgraded the Montgolfier yet, because it costs an arm and a leg, basically. It's cheaper from Denmark, just... or maybe that's the highest it goes, 5,750. Still really expensive, gold-wise. And as you can see, because I have a lot of mercenaries, I don't really get that high of a gold income. I really need to upgrade those gold mines. But look at that. Orange is almost down. They still have a market. They have these pesty cannon towers. And here, I actually started to get a bit nervous, because I saw that purple was on the move. But I do have a decent amount of troops right there. And of course the pikemen, my pikemen are to prefer against the Turkish ones, because they don't have any armor, while my pikemen do. So they are stronger defensively. And there I actually upgraded the Montgolfier. Beautiful, so now we can see the entire map. Purple is all the way down here. And if you look at where they have their armies, they have one little squad here, one little squad over here, and some cannons as well. One over here. So they haven't really made that much headway although they do have some troops. I'm not gonna deny that, but when I saw this, I actually started to feel pretty confident that I was going to win, although never say something like that too early, because you might jinx it and have to regret it later. But now when I saw purple there, I wanted to run around with these troops, because like I said, the AI want to defend its city primarily, so don't know what these guys are doing here, but maybe they'll start to starve soon. So I'll rather run around and try to attack their city and deal some economical damage, because that will also most likely lead their troops to retreat as well and not attacking my city. And of course I want to keep them from attacking my city. I actually managed to capture a rebuild site, or a building site for a town hall. I could have started to build on this one and then recruited some Spanish peasants, but no. I don't play like that in this, not at least in this challenge mode. But also when I play like this, I don't put the mercenaries into formation or anything like that. Maybe I should start to put them into formation, because that will of course give them bonuses on both attack and defense, which of course will be very useful when there are big amounts of units involved. Still maxed out on population space though, and I do not want to run in to that cavalry with spread out formations of light infantrymen, because they will be picked off. And the riders are dealing good work to the siege Cossacks, but unfortunately not enough. They were brought down. Too bad, too bad. And now I have to start thinking about defending, because it seems like purple doesn't pull back to defend. I really should start upgrading more in the academy. Look at all that gold. Or maybe I'm just saving up to build some more stables or something like that, because I have 3 so far. And I just need lumber basically, so I can build some more stables. But just now, this little squad of purple units are coming up to orange. And all they see is wasteland, because I've basically burned all of it. And soon, these boys most likely are gonna starve, because there is no one producing food for them. But look at that. Orange still not give up. Still doesn't give up. Now that's discipline. This little small squad is quite harmless, if not for the Janissaries and the howitzers. Every time I see the howitzers, I always hold my breath while they fire, because it almost hurts physically when I see those balls, those cannonballs drop down among my troops and just taking a lot of units with them. But it almost feels like they are nerfed in the Cossacks 3 version though, because in Cossacks 1, one of those cannonballs, they had one primary explosion and then many secondary explosions basically, which caused a lot of damage. But look at that, I managed to bring down that army quite well. Of course I did lose a lot of units in the process, but the more riders that I have, the better I will do against Turkey, because riders of course have very heavy armor, while the Turkish faction basically have none. And I can recruit cavalry even faster, because I got that upgrade, horseshoe upgrade. I should start getting this upgrade and the armored soldiers defense upgrade, because they will help both my pikemen of course and riders with the armor, and also my cavalry with the broadswords and sabers upgrade. But now most likely I just pressed Control Alt and A to select all my military units, and by accident I selected all of my units, so that's why I just saw a bunch of my peasants also started moving, because I want to select all my units and have them move on purple, or have them stand right here. But these guys will walk the long way around of course. But I want to assemble my troops to do to be able to do the most coordinated attack possibly. and not just come spread out like 10, 15 at a time, because then I lose everything. These guys I decided to let be, because like I said, they will start to starve eventually, because they don't have anyone providing them with food. So they're not a threat to me right now. The only threat they would make if they start actually moving towards my city. Building some more dwellings because I need more population space, always. That's another good that's another thing that I'm kind of forsaking when I don't use 18th century units, because the barracks of the 18th century provide population space as well. And if I capture other civilizations, then I could buy their town halls and their barracks at a lower price than if I would build more of mine. So that would of course provide a lot of population space. But now I'm stuck with 1,750 population space. These boys are still walking around, and here we're starting to see one. Most likely there will be one clash here soon. But this doesn't feel like the wrath of impossible AI, to be honest. I don't know why they are. They're not coming with more. They do still have like units in the base, some in the base, a lot of cannon towers, but fortunately for me, still quite weak. 36 minutes into the game. If you look at the points, I'm still ahead, but the Janissaries, they pack a punch. Well, they are starting to mow down the riders, but I just had too many for their cavalry to handle, and as soon as I get my riders into their Janissaries, they will stop firing and just try to retreat. So it's easier for me to hack them down when the riders have crashed into the ranks. This army though, that I sent the long route around, I just realized that I can attack them from the left side. They have this little squad here of light Sipahi. Don't really know how to pronounce that, sorry for that. But otherwise than that, of course they do have some defense, but they also have a lot of economy and dwellings this way, and their gold mine as well, so there are a lot of really good targets for me to focus on here. This little formation though actually got me to hesitate a little bit before I wanted to attack them, because they are really squatted up and there are a lot of troops. A lot of archers, sure, but they can still hurt, and light infantrymen, they can swarm. But with armored riders and armored pikemen and some archers as well, shouldn't be too scary. At least I wanted to attempt to take them out, because I don't want to be leaving my base open for attack like that, because now I've basically sent... Oh, starting to build multi-barrels as well. I want to have all of my units on the march, because I don't want to wait too much to relieve the pressure when I actually start getting some good results in the attacks. Here I'm starting to form up on the western side. Look at that. However, yeah, their Janissaries of course are packing a punch, but as soon as these guys start to approach them, they won't do that much damage anymore. However, these light Sipahis, yeah, they can still deal a lot of damage to the light infantrymen. However, as you can see, a lot of my units are now starting to consist of armored pikemen, which are really effective against non-armored units, of course. But that cannon fire was not fun. Look at that. That's some gnarly grape shot. But now I want to select my archers to start bringing down their mine. And that was a bit bugged effect as well, but of course I got it down, and this army actually does quite a stellar job at clearing out this base. You wouldn't expect so. Everything is on delay right now, it seems. Look at that. I know the oh yeah, maybe it's just that the arrows don't deal that much damage. Look, each arrow only deals like 1 damage. Maybe it's because sand doesn't burn, I don't know. But still, capturing town halls left and right, that's good. Just destroying them as well, because I don't play with captured civilizations in these challenges. And look at that. Dealing a lot of damage with just this little army. And now I have, or maybe I haven't done that yet, I think I've altered my spawning point. So that's further down on the map, because like I said, I want to keep that aggression going. And if you look military-wise, I mean, Turkey is really spread out, doesn't really move anywhere, doesn't really assemble to make any good counter-charge or any good defense. Which is very, very good for me, because in the meantime I can just run around and destroy their stuff. And 40 minutes, almost 41 minutes into the game, game time-wise, of course. But I think this one was a normally paced game, so that's 41 actual minutes as well. Compare this to the other game when I played as Russia, and it took hours and hours and hours, and still I had to break the rule and start using 18th century units. This is a very good push, and I guess I was lucky on the factions as well, that I ended up with Denmark, who has really good... actually, Denmark has really good 17th century musketeers. At least they did in the first edition of Cossacks. But anyway, they do have armored pikemen, and Turkey doesn't have much armor at all, and they don't even transition into the 18th century. So in that sense, I was lucky. However, Spain could still have been a real pain if they were to snowball. But now, look at this line. Everyone's just walking down to the Turkish city because we really need to destroy it. And we are so close right now. So close, I can still taste it. The sweet, sweet taste of victory. They still have coal, otherwise they wouldn't be able to fire from the cannon towers. And of course, I think coal is the only mine they actually have left. The gold mines are destroyed, the iron mines are destroyed, and this little section of Spanish troops are still alive and kicking, walking around with their bombards and their cannons. Now, this is the part that's it kind of takes unnecessarily long, because it's difficult to destroy buildings of sand with fire arrows. So the archers don't really do that much damage, but I can of course focus down their neutral buildings, their peasants, their town halls, etc. They have 2 town halls down here and blacksmith. So if I were to send units down here, of course that would be a big nail in the coffin for the Turkish faction. Look at that. Siege Cossacks don't do that much damage against light infantry. Again, at least not 2 against so many. But then again, I come with pikemen. So now it's all basically just mopping up. Just clean up duty. They are no longer firing with their cannon towers. Most likely running out of... Oh, actually there are. They just have a really slow reload time. But they should start to run out of coal pretty soon. And they are still having... the Spanish faction is still having a decent amount of food. Apparently, since they don't start to starve. And I'm happy for them, of course, that they don't have to starve. But either way, they still have to die eventually. And look at that. The arrows are not dealing a lot of damage. I just realized that I said look at that a lot. Mostly it's because I really want you to watch. It's fun. But now artillery is starting to come down as well. Good old-fashioned Danish 17th century artillery. How great is that? An artillery depot for Turkey captured, which most likely I will just destroy And now I think that I'm very soon going to realize that they have this. Okay, now it seems like the purple impossible actually gave up, since they automatically destroyed their buildings, their town halls, the blacksmith, basically everything that would need to stay afloat. They destroyed. However, they haven't destroyed their cannon towers yet, nor this barrack, or this barrack as well. But they aren't recruiting anything, and there we go. One stable going down, and the diplomatic center as well. Building by building, everything is starting to burn right now for Turkey, and any second now, most likely that one, the purple impossible is gonna turn gray, because they will have given up, and then I will be all back where I started with the Spanish faction, where we have like a 72 formation, I think, or 120 of Cossacks, which of course are the Spanish pikemen. Very good armor, so not to take very lightly. However, compared to me, this is not that many units. They have been walking around with these boys for like 30 minutes or so, for a long time, even before I burnt down their city. So now, of course, I will start to assemble every military unit I have available, so that I can wipe out this last formation of resistance. And now I got the upgrade so that I can see all the mines on the map. Better late than never, I guess. But now I'm just OCDing all over my academy, most likely, because I want all of the upgrades. Even though I don't need them, I want them. So now I'm upgrading as much as I can, because it's so beautiful when everything is upgraded. Then you know that everything is as good as it can possibly get. If I would have to transition into something else, I won't be doing a good job with that though, because if you look at the Dragoons, not a single upgrade. Going full out Rider, full out Panzers. Last, amassing every military unit that I have, so that I can wipe out this formation, who still hasn't hit the famine margin, still not running out of food. Maybe they just don't need that much food to stay awake. They are walking all over the land, eating grass and trees, I guess. Still recruiting priests, because I killed a couple of Spanish ones. I need to keep the right people on my side. Still recruiting from the diplomatic center, still recruiting from the barracks, because I don't want to get soft. A lot of stables though, 5, all of them recruiting armored reiters, which I have 140 of now pretty soon. So now it's all just gathering up the forces and savoring the moment of only having to destroy this little formation, and then I will have finished my challenge to destroy 2 impossible AI without using 18th century units and without capturing other factions, and sending the Cossacks in first, because why not? Because I could bring down a cannon, and that's good enough for those guys. So now they're right around 8 in damage only, compared to 22 for the Reiters, 130, 150 I guess HP compared to 300. No armor, a lot of armor. But There we go. Look at that. The mass death of the last of the Spanish faction. The riders are still going strong though. Never too late to get a workout in, I guess. But apart from that, that's all for this episode, I guess. It was really interesting using a replay function on Cossacks 3, even though it is bugged every here and there. You could see that the animations were a bit off from the units. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's something that frequently happens on replay functions. Anyway, this was a 50-minute game, a bit more than that. 50 minutes and 42 seconds left, say, of pure joy. Mr. Waffle Stomper taking down 2 impossible AI without going to the without using 18th century troops. Kudos, I say to myself. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you in the next one.